Hello and welcome to the Money Marketing Podcast. I'm Kimberly Dondo, Digital Content Manager, and this week Michael Climbs will be stepping in for reporter JB, reading his weekend essay on what advisors have on their Christmas wish list for 2022.
Weekend essay, Advisors' Christmas Wish List, What Advisors Want in 2022 by Jean-Baptiste Andrieux. It is fair to say that 2021 is ending on a false note with the emergence of a new COVID strain and the government's requirement to work from home again. In spite of this, it's been a very good year at a personal level. I got a job in journalism against all odds. I had come to terms with the fact my year of journalism training had been all in vain, and was about to take a job as a translator without much enthusiasm. It might be very simple, but that's all I wanted from 2021, and I obtained it. Now, did this year bring satisfaction to advisors? And more importantly, what would they like to see in 2022? As for everybody in the country, 2021 has been a challenging year for financial advisors. This past year has been defined by a requirement to remain flexible, and as advisors, our ability to adapt to a rapidly changing circumstances has certainly been tested, says James Peer, an IFA at Ascot Lloyd. Luke Mather, financial advisor at St James's Place Wealth Management, saw the acceptance of electronic signatures among providers as a positive solution. He hopes to see a wider adoption of new technologies in 2022. I think we waste a lot of paper having to send things out by post, he says. Lamb Financial Director David Lamb also welcomed the adoption of technology in the profession. He says, "Zoom is now almost my virtual office and has effectively shrunk the country. It is very satisfying to be able to organise a meeting between clients, solicitors and business advisors spread all around the country. It means we can select the country's best, not just who is on the client's doorstep, when none of us have met face to face and work so well. It also means that meetings are more focused, stick to planned timescales, and why should a client spend an hour or so in the car or come into our office to look at our computer screen for cash flow presentations when they can sit at home and look at their own computer screen? And I only need to iron a shirt, not trousers." Informed Choice chairman Nick Bamford was happy with hybrid working, which enabled more flexibility in the business. It also gave the possibility to clients to receive advice either face-to-face or remotely. Apart from the adoption of technology, several advisors were pleased with the growing awareness around sustainability. EQ Investors Executive Director Jenny Boyle has seen an influx of clients interested in investing their money sustainably. She says, "We hope to see this continue. More of us are waking up to the difference we can make with our investments." Wider afoot, it would be great to see a sustainable default investment option for auto-enrolment pensions. This would allow members to align their workplace pensions with their personal values. Daintree Wealth Management Head of Operations Aidan Briggs observed a similar trend among his clients. He says, "COP26 was headline news for a lot this year, and we have all been privy to the issues climate change poses to our way of living and our planet. Because of this, there has been a significant increase in clients and prospects looking to invest their money for more than financial gain. They want to support the fight against climate change." He was also satisfied with the improvements in quality of environmental, social and governance data. 11.2 Financial Planning Director Greg Moss appreciated the fact that industry has become more inclusive. He said that mental health and neurodiversity issues have become part of the conversation in a bigger way, and that the advice industry is becoming less pale, male and stale. Moss was also delighted with the quality of newcomers in the industry. He says, "I met some great advisors at quality firms that are really pushing the envelope. In particular, the calibre of young advisors coming through is very encouraging for the future. Promotion and help for younger advisors are things SJP's Mather would like to see more of next year. 50% of the industry is going to retire within the next 10 years. That's not enough people coming into the industry to make up for that exodus," he says. Moss would also like to see financial literacy back in schools in 2022. A higher tax regime means more inequality. Lack of financial literacy and access to advice is going to hurt more people more keenly, he says. IFS Wealth and Pensions Director Ricky Chan suggests money collected from firms who have done wrong could be put to good use. Fines paid by firms in the financial services industry could be used to promote financial education, access to independent financial advice and financial planning, and to offset the cost of competition rather than simply being pocketed by the Treasury for no good reason, he says. Fines paid by firms in the financial services industry could be used to promote financial education, access to independent financial advice and financial planning, and to offset the cost of compensation rather than simply being pocketed by the Treasury for no good reason, he says. More financial education is also something Jessica Ayers, a chartered financial planner at Timothy James and Partners, would like to see next year. This is because it could help fix the advice gap. She says young people are not given adequate financial education, something I would love to see addressed in school. If they don't understand mortgages, pensions, or investments, why would they seek a career in financial services? With the changes in pensions legislation, the state pension, and the difficulty in getting on the property ladder, more people need to seek independent professional advice. Many are caught out by the pension's annual allowance charges and the tapering of their personal allowance, to mention just two tax issues. But with the increased burden of regulation, the cost of providing advice means many IFAs focus on high net worth clients. I would like to see regulation and compliance streamlined so that financial advisors can bring down the cost of providing advice, and a concerted effort made by our regulators to attract more talented youngsters, especially women, into the industry. The continuous growth of the Financial Services Compensation Scheme levy has been a concern during the year for the financial advice industry. It is expected to reach $717 million for 21-22. Darren Cook, a chartered financial planner at Red Circle Financial Planning, is particularly concerned this trend is set to continue next year. He says, a continually rising FSCS levy is a symptom not just of poor advice, but also years of failed regulation. We don't need more rules. We just need what we already have to be properly enforced. This is also Chan's view. He says, I'd like to see the cost of regulation being driven down and the amount of red tape removed or streamlined. The Financial Conduct Authority, the Financial Ombudsman Service, and the FSCS could revamp rules to exclude unregulated investments being covered and ensure that a more sustainable funding model is put in place so that those involved with high-risk advice contribute a larger share. Cook adds that he would like to see the FCA stop issuing consultancy papers and just get on and do the job we actually pay it to do. Since we are talking about the FCA, Lamb hopes to see the proposals in the FCA CP 2113 Consumer Duty paper being implemented in 2022. He says, "This is a massive opportunity for advisors, which many probably would not take or recognise without the FCA forcing it upon them. The regulator is basically telling firms to show that they are providing value for money. Many firms will expect that they provide value for money, but these proposals will force them to prove it." Being able to quantify value for money will show our clients the real value of our services. Regular reviews will ensure that we can catch a client before they become dissatisfied, leading to happier clients, higher client retention, and greater equity value for firms along the way. Benchmarking against other firms would be invaluable. Briggs from Daintree Wealth Management hopes to see a more consistent language and standards for ESG investing next year. There are several initiatives and organisations attempting to do this, and I believe the progress we have made in terms of understanding and defining key characteristics in this space has been significant. I believe we still have room for improvement in disseminating the information to our clients. He says, "As the awareness around ESG grows, so does the concern about greenwashing. Therefore, Moss wishes real sanctions for greenwashing are implemented in the ESG fund space." Mayfair adds that he would like the FCA to introduce minimum standards in terms of the timescale providers should have to respond by. This is an opinion Lamb doesn't agree with. He says, "It would be nice to see shorter FOS waiting times and better services from product providers and the Department for Work and Pensions. We live in hope." Finally, Bamford hopes that 2022 will be the year where we will return to normality and put the worst of this pandemic behind us. I guess many outsiders of the financial advice profession have a similar wish. Now, before concluding this weekend essay, I would like to share with you my own wish list. Just like many advisors, I hope the FCA will stop releasing consultation papers, white papers, and policies every fortnight. It is also tedious for those who have to summarise them in condensed articles. While ESG is here to stay, I would also like to see more conversations on other topics in the investment space. What I mean is that ESG will not overshadow other issues. I would also like the government to take tougher measures on the promotions and sale of mini bonds. We have seen enough disasters in the past few years with mini bond issuers, and it is time for this market to be scrutinised more thoroughly. Financial education, especially cryptocurrencies, would be much needed as well. I do not have a vendetta against cryptocurrencies. This asset is here to stay, and I believe it will in time be accepted as a credible asset. Yet, I do think there is grave naivety, especially among younger investors, about this asset. There is a need to instill more realism and pragmatism. As a journalist, needless to say, I would love to get more exclusive articles, but also I aim to write more investment features reflecting our readership's interests rather than my own.
Thank you, Mike, for stepping in for JB this week. We do hope that you enjoyed our final weekend essay of the year, and we hope to see you next year for many more. Please do keep up to date with all our new releases via Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcasts from. You can also keep up to date with all our new content published on the Money Marketing website, as well as Twitter and LinkedIn. Happy holidays!